Your womb develops a child. Your breast feed children. I believe that men knew that. They saw it, they were jealous, and they decided to tell us that it was disgusting and to cover it up.
Women who make modesty content are some of the biggest pick-me's. You're actively saying, look at how covered I am. Don't I deserve the respect and she doesn't?
There's a new epidemic in the US that no one is talking about. That is the epidemic of modesty.
Gen Z modesty? No. No. I'm not falling for it. I'm getting drunk, I'm wearing mini skirts, going to the club, staying out till 4 a.m. Maybe I'll have a cigarette.
Can we leave the modest fashion after this year? You're 21. It is your responsibility to be hot.
So apparently there is a new epidemic in town, and it is not a virus. It's not another skincare line. It's modesty. In 2025, it feels like for you to be confident, you have to be wearing something tiny. If you are covered up, if you're wearing a turtleneck, if you're wearing a long skirt, you're oppressed. I think it is really mind-blowing, and I want to talk about it. The reality is that there was actually a time when dressing modestly wasn't necessarily a movement. It was just the way people dressed. Wearing a dress that hit your knees or a blouse, that had buttons wasn't rebellion. It was just how people dressed. If you're from some parts of the world, it's normal for some people to look a certain way, for some people to have tattoos, compared to some other parts of the world where you will be side-eyed if you have tattoos. I'm obviously not saying like the past was perfect. If we're being quite frank, there were a lot of women, because of religion, that were forced to be modest as a result of their culture. And in some cases, some were actually as a result of rules set by men and women, maybe unspoken rules, maybe not, that decided that for you to be respectable, it meant you had to look a certain way. And I get that that's why a lot of pushback is coming in today on modesty. A lot of people feel triggered by seeing people that are dressed modestly. So today, modesty has clearly become a PR problem. If you say you are dressing modestly, people start thinking that you are being a pick-me, you are auditioning to be a trad wife, you're trying to fit a certain look. People are actually really getting attacked for looking a certain way online, which I really find alarming. So some of the reasons why I talk about these things is because the people that are pushing these wrong narratives are quite loud online. And I think that it is really essential for people who don't share in these sentiments to also talk about how they feel, because we are also shaping the future that we want to see with the things that we involve ourselves in, with the things that we talk about today. Some people genuinely don't actually like showing skin. And if you think that that is not true, you need to go and get assessed by a doctor. A lot of women are getting attacked for being modest. I saw a woman recently, a video where a woman was talking about how people were kind of insinuating that she was a bad mom because she didn't allow her children to wear bikinis.
The amount of people that make fun of me for being a modest mother is so weird to me. I made a couple of videos about the swimsuits that me and my kids wear. They're high necks and they're tank tops that are long and they cover up everything. People are literally telling me I'm a bad mother because I don't let my kids wear bikinis and thongs. What is making me a bad mother? Teaching my kids that modesty is a good thing?
Of course, I don't know if she was exaggerating, but I feel like, how did we get here? Christian girls are being told to free themselves because they wear long sleeves. And if you dress conservatively, for some reason, you're suddenly the face of internalized patriarchy. And I think that it is just weird that people think this way.
Do y'all realize that this modest summer trend is a push from conservatives to have control over your bodies? Like, do you guys know that? Because I see so many people posting about the mood for the summer is modest summer. I feel like it's propaganda at this point.
What I find the most hilarious about this is the fact that the same people that are preaching about empowerment are the ones kind of policing other women's choices, because at the end of the day, it's a choice, right? And yes, I think two things can be true. There are definitely women that I feel are pressured into dressing a certain way.
While an occasional flash of an ankle or a calf was considered more or less appropriate, if a grown-up woman wanted to walk around the city in a knee-length dress, she would most likely ruin her reputation.
Author Amal Hawad doesn't wear the hijab and says the choice to wear one should be well informed.
There are women in the world who don't have a choice to wear it. You see discussion of choice more in the West. But we have to be honest about this not always being the case.
It could be as a result of the people they are around, their environment. At the end of the day, we are all products of influence, right? And I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with that. If you live in a particular place for a prolonged period of time, it's only a matter of time before you start to dress like that. Even though there are situations where people are pressured into dressing a certain way, into dressing modestly. There are also people who choose it because it just feels right to them. It could be because of their comfort, because of their faith. It could be for cultural reasons. And it could just be that they don't want to be the center of attention. There has been like ongoing fights for the right to choose. There were times where women couldn't vote, women couldn't have bank accounts, and people took it upon themselves to fight for the right to be able to make those choices. And now we're back to fighting over the choices that people actually make.
Isn't it crazy that women are catching heat for being too modest? So now being different means covering up.
Let's talk about why I think it bothers some people. I've thought about this a lot, and I think that people are addicted to what is familiar. They're used to seeing skin everywhere, on billboards, on social media, in gym videos. I believe that when someone shows up fully covered, it maybe feels unsettling for some people. Part of me also thinks that part of the hate comes from the admiration that some people don't want to admit. Some people criticize what they secretly wish they had the discipline to do. So instead of saying, that's interesting, maybe I should try that long skirt, I think it would look nice on me, they say, oh, she's a pick-me. Why she wearing that long skirt? This skirt is rubbing the floor. She doesn't need to do all that. And it's like, why? I think modesty triggers some people because it kind of represents something that's not trying to get attention, right? Because everything that we say today, everything around us, in some way, shape, or form, is trying to get all the attention. And modesty is kind of going against that norm. There is impact in passing across this kind of message, especially on younger people. If you're older, like you can brush off the online noise. I'm dressed this way. Someone comes to my channel and is like, why is her shirt this high and blah, blah, blah. Maybe I don't care about that, right? But I think that for someone that's like maybe 16 or 20, they're still trying to figure out themselves, maybe trying to figure out their fashion sense. And they hear things like this. They hear things like when you're covered, you're oppressed. It can give people the wrong ideas. For example, the Gen Zs, a lot of them like dress in baggy. They wear like really big shirts and really big pants. Imagine some of them really liking those outfits and then coming to hear things like that. It's just like, why?
One thing that I will never understand is society's desire to taint innocence. I seen this video come across my TikTok. Just from what I could tell from the caption, I can tell she's a Christian woman who is God-fearing and very modest. And in the comments, people were saying to free her, that she needs to go to a club, that she needs to dress more provocative, that she needs to go to LA and become a model, that she needs to get on Love Island. We see something beautiful and it's like we want to throw it out to the wolves.
Because of the pressure that the internet puts on them to think that dressing a certain way makes them a pick-me, they start to dress in ways that don't actually feel like them, just to prove that they are free. And this is absolutely not empowerment. This is not liberation. This is simple peer pressure and harassment and bullying, to say the least. My main takeaway here is that being covered up doesn't necessarily mean you're better than anyone. It doesn't also mean that you are oppressed. It should be normal for someone to want to cover their body. It shouldn't be an anomaly. And as women, I don't think we should preach freedom and still shame each other for how we choose to show up. I mean, for the most part. Some things deserve to be shamed. I'm not gonna lie. I hope that this message is clear. If you've watched this video all the way to the end, please do well to subscribe and like and drop a comment on what your thoughts are about this. And thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.